Hi everybody. So we are going to meal prep with all of the ingredients that we got from the grocery store. So I'm actually gonna do roughly two meals per one of these. There will be a few that you won't see, but today we're gonna go through breakfast and then one of our like mealy snack type things. So we are going to make kind of like a breakfast hash. So from what we bought yesterday, we're gonna use the asparagus, red onion, green pepper, both yellow squashes, some sweet potatoes, some black beans, and the turkey bacon. So first things first is we're going to preheat our ovens to 375. Okay, get those all heated up. Next thing you'll do is you'll grab your scrap bucket. Because I will be cooking a lot, I have a big scrap bucket. Next thing that we are going to do is start chopping. And by chopping, I mean we're going to start with asparagus, because to me, that is the easiest thing to do. Try and move you guys so you can actually see my face. It's a little better. All right, so there we go. So we got my asparagus, and I'm gonna try and fit these on 2 baking sheets. All you do is you snap, stick them right into our bucket. They will naturally snap where they need to break off. Luckily, they don't take too long to break and snap, which is kind of nice. Depending upon how big or small your asparagus are, these are pretty medium sized, so it doesn't take as long. But it is nice having a bucket, I will tell you that. You gotta have the bucket. It's just easier, because then you can just kind of go about everything. Because of where my puppy is, which is currently on the couch, I just have to be careful with my food scraps. So you'll see I have a very busy countertop. Try your best not to have a very busy countertop. Get that to be very full recycling. There I'm going to grab my handy dandy knife. I'm just going to do a few small chops here, just so that they're about an inch, give or take, and I'm just gonna stick it right on my baking tray. Because these are all going in the same place, I don't care if they are a bit all over the place when they get onto my baking sheet. I'm gonna do my singular green pepper because we are using that for a couple of other recipes, and I have 3 of them. So I am just making sure that I'm only using 1 because we like to have variety. Variety is great. Again, I'm just putting all my scraps into a bucket. It's just the easier, faster way to do it, because then you just dump the bucket when you're done into whatever that you need it to be in. So whether that be like a frozen bag that you're keeping all your veggie scraps in to make broth, or you're just tossing it in the trash or composting or whatever it is that you do with your veggie scraps. All right, pepper. That is also done. I am just gonna real quick take a head of garlic, because I like garlic on everything. And I am actually just going to just kind of peel it a little bit, peel off some of that extra paper. I'm just gonna cut straight down. I definitely need to sharpen these knives. And I am going to put my head of garlic on the corner here of my sheet, and again into the bowl. So it's a very easy, pretty quick prep. We got our yellow squashes. I can't unfortunately have my recycling out right now, again because of the pup. But welcome to my chaotic kitchen. And all I do is I slice right down the center. I slice right down the center again. And I do rough chops for any type of zucchini and squash since they hold a lot of water. You don't want to slice them too thin. Otherwise, they might just dry up in there, which we don't want. And this is all going on one baking sheet, and then my sweet potatoes, just because there's more of them, is gonna go on a separate baking sheet. So you got 2 going in the oven. While that's in the oven, we're gonna do a lot of other prep because that's gonna take some time. Because this one's so thick, I am gonna cut that one in half. And again, we are just chopping away. Majority of your meal prep is gonna be chopping, so make sure you have some really great knives. Like I said, mine are good, I just need to sharpen them. And then if there's any imperfections on your produce, just throw them in the trash bucket. Simple as that. So because this is pretty large, I'm gonna cut this in 3s just to try and keep it even on my pot, or on my pot, in my pan. Brain fog is real today. Puppies, they're no joke. All right. So the other vegetable we're putting on here is the red onion. It's just 1 full red onion. So we got squash, we got asparagus, we have green pepper, we have a head of garlic, and now I'm just doing my red onion. I like to get a lot of the flaky stuff off before I cut it. So that's what I am doing over here. Just makes it a little easier later on when we're cutting to not have it on there as we chop. And again, it's a rough chop for these onions, a rough chop. I'm not looking for anything super fine with these breakfast vegetables. The oven, we're gonna make that work for us. All right, normally all I do is I will chop with the grain. As I get closer, I'm gonna turn it over so that way I am staying even. And again, it is a rough chop. After I hit that center, again, I'm turning it and still going with that grain. And onto our baking sheet it goes. Now again, because I am at 375, I'm not gonna be using olive oil for this. I will be using avocado oil, because that will not go rancid in a 375-degree oven like olive oil will. Olive oil is 350 or below. So I've got my avocado oil from Trader Joe's that I've already had at my house, so not included in the grocery list. And I just do a healthy drizzle. A lot of drizzle on that garlic because I want that to crisp up. For me, I use salt on everything, so I just do quick little amount of salt. That's all I season with for these for breakfast vegetables, just because I like to season as I do things, like as the day progresses. So one's in the oven. Our oven's still preheating, but that's okay to put it in beforehand. Next we got our sweet potatoes. Again, it is my chaotic kitchen, so I'm moving all of the avocados that have just fallen. And we are going to chop up all of these sweet potatoes, the entire bag that we bought from the store. Cut off the butts into our trash bucket. Cut down the center twice, and then we chop. Like I said, we're gonna chop all of these sweet potatoes, and what that's gonna do is it's going to have one full baking sheet, basically, of sweet potato. And again, it's a rough chop. They don't all have to be even. And I just kind of shove them along my cutting board here until it gets full to where I can't chop anymore. It's normally about 3 to 4 sweet potatoes, depending upon how big they are. And if I feel like moving them over a lot, or if I'm just trying to meal prep the crap out of all this and stick it in the oven so I can get to the other things that we got to meal prep today. Like I said, we'll do 2 recipes today. We will do 2 recipes on another point next week, and we'll do 2 recipes beforehand. Now, obviously, you're gonna see me in the same outfit because I am meal prepping all of these in the same exact day. They just won't come to you until later. So, we've got about 5 sweet potatoes left. I'm gonna put this in the trash bucket because my trash bucket is currently not good to be going in the freezer for scraps. I am just making that a generalized trash bucket because, again, I've got a lot to prep today. And the sooner we get things in the oven, it takes about 45 minutes for all these vegetables to crisp up once it hits temp. So we do want to try to get everything in there just about when it hits to temp, and it's okay if things are in there for a little bit longer. That's totally fine because we got prep to do while we're doing the things in the oven. So it's really just about getting that oven set, getting your chopping done as quickly and safely as you can. Again, sharp knives help. I would be going a lot faster with this. However, my knife is not sharp, and it is something that I need to sharpen. Sharpen your knives, people. I'm definitely not a perfectionist when it comes to the way that I chop and the way that I cook. I like to have fun with it, so rough chopping is a great way to make things quick if you're short on time. All right, we got 2 more sweet potatoes left. And onto my baking sheet. Whenever you're bringing vegetables from a cutting board to a baking sheet, make sure you use this side of the knife to scrape, not this side of the knife to scrape. It's going to dull your knives over time, and I don't think you want microplastics in your food. So, last 2 sweet potatoes. Again, we're gonna do the same thing. Once these are on that tray, we're gonna drizzle them with some avocado oil, put some salt on there. I'm gonna put a little bit of garlic and onion powder on the potatoes. And then it's going into the oven, which is at 355, so we are right on schedule for these to be in the oven. And then we are going to continue to prep and multitask. Now, if you are not a multitasker, this is going to take way longer to prep all of these things. All right, sweet potato is done. Make sure that it is even out. Grabbing our avocado oil, again, nice healthy drizzle, just to keep it hydrated, a little bit of salt. And again, I use salt. I almost forgot my garlic and onion powder. Can't forget those. I go to the co-op for mine because it's cheaper. Most people think bulk spices are expensive. It's actually the cheapest way to do this. And honestly, I think these lids are on wrong and one is not what it's supposed to be. There's my preheated oven. I am just gonna rinse my hands here. Just because of the spices, and then going into the oven. So we got about 45 minutes here, so keep an eye on the time. We're gonna finish our breakfast. So we got a can of black beans. So we're gonna grab colander. We are going to open our can of black beans. Dump them into the colander. And rinse them out. I like to give them a good move around with my hands. And then I'm just gonna let that drain. Now while that is draining, I'm grabbing my turkey bacon. I have a pack that is open and a pack that is not. I'm using both. I am grabbing a pan. No oil, no nothing. I'm gonna put that pan on medium. You're gonna grab yourself some food scissors. Now my good food scissors are in my dishwasher currently. So I'm gonna use the real pieces of shit one. And I am just gonna grab my semi-opened turkey bacon already. And what I'm doing is I'm grabbing them by the like 3-ish, and I'm going to cut them just into like little squares and like just smaller than this. I'm just gonna kind of cut them. And we're gonna put them right directly into this pan. It doesn't have to be anywhere near perfect cuts. We just want them smaller. That way we can cook a lot of turkey bacon at one time. And you can make these into breakfast burritos. I just prefer a veggie hash or a bowl, especially when other things in my week involve a lot of chickpeas. Chickpeas in my stomach sometimes don't get along very well. So when I do have something with chickpeas already planned out for my meals, I try to avoid the other things that have chickpeas in it. For example, my wraps are chickpea flour wraps. So instead of having double chickpea where I know that may hurt my stomach, I'm just making it into a hash instead. All right, one down. And because we have so many vegetables, it's fine that we're using this much turkey bacon. Again, I buy a couple different brands. I buy Applegate Organics. I buy the organic sugar-free Welshire brand of turkey bacon. Again, looking for no nitrates, no added anything. Every ingredient you see on that package should be something that you know. Like something like it's like celery seed or something of that matter. And we're just gonna create a giant pile of turkey bacon that will cook out. The nice thing about chopping it this way is it cooks pretty fast when that happens. So I'm just gonna open this one up. Because again, I am using both packages of turkey bacon. With my, like I said, very, very chaotic kitchen here. We're just gonna grab the whole thing, the whole slab, and we're just gonna cut. Because why not? right? Why not? It's chaotic. It's cooking. Cooking is always chaotic. No one cooks peacefully. We have fun. Fun is more important. And remember, even though it's going to seem like they're kind of bigger pieces, they're not, because turkey bacon's going to shrink up with the moisture in it. So it's not going to stay at the length and width that you cut it to. It's going to get a little smaller than that. So it's totally fine if you are cutting them a little bit bigger. And you could even just do this whole, but honestly, it takes so much longer to do that. Like I said, these are real pieces of shit scissors, so it's taking me even longer than I anticipated on this. And what we're gonna do is, once this is cooked, we're gonna add in those black beans that we have draining in the sink. Once this is all sorts of cooked. All right. We want this all into my handy dandy trash bucket, because like I said, we got everything going in there at this current moment in time. Wash your hands because raw meat. Making sure our beans are not actually in the sink. All right, we're gonna grab, I like to use a metal spoon because there's so much turkey bacon. We're just gonna kind of move it around a little bit and break up those pieces that were together. And while that is cooking, we're gonna start on our second recipe. So our second recipe is gonna be a tomato chickpea recipe. So we have a can of chickpeas, we have a red onion. We're gonna use some of our celery. We're gonna use our cucumber. And we are also going to use some tomatoes. What else are we going to need? Lots of other things. We are going to need some garlic powder, some onion powder. We are going to need some basil. We're gonna need some dill. We're gonna need some cumin. We're gonna need some parsley. And we're gonna need some garlic, because there's garlic and onion in absolutely everything that I use. We won't use a full head. We're only gonna use a couple of cloves. It's important to note. Okay, I'm just grabbing 2 cloves of garlic here. And then from here, we're gonna grab, because this is kind of like a mixed together type of thing. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna add my black beans to my pan now, because I need this dish. I don't like to dirty a bunch of things. Like I said, welcome to my chaotic kitchen. These black beans are gonna cook in with this turkey bacon in this giant one pan, because we also like one pan things. When all this is done, it's all gonna go together into a big dish. For now. Another bowl. I know I was away for a while. We got another bowl. Putting it here. What we are going to do is we're going to start by dicing our cucumber. Okay, so we have a full cucumber. I cut this into a couple different pieces. Again, it's just easier for me to cut that way. Cut it in half. And I'm going to cut this into quarters because I want it a little smaller. And then I'm going to cut that again. So rough dice. I just find it easier to prep in big bowls. You can always grab some smaller ones to see how much it's actually going to be when it's all said and done. But for now, we've got our whole cucumber that we are dicing up. Again, quarters, and then dice them up again. You want like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch cube, something like that. You might start to hear some sizzling going on. This one's a little thicker. I might go more than 1/4. Might go for 5 here. You just don't want them super, super large. Oh, so used to cutting zucchini. I just cut that from your halves into more halves. There we go. We're gonna pretend like that didn't happen. Sammy's chaotic kitchen. All right, going into our bowl here with our cucumber. Gonna open up our chickpeas. Just a can of chickpeas where our only ingredients are chickpeas and maybe salt. Into our sink. Again, give them a good rinse. You want to make sure with your chickpeas that the water runs clear and not bubbly. That's how you know that you got all the aquafaba out. Not necessarily a bad thing, aquafaba. It's just that's where it holds a lot of the salt. Drained out my chickpeas. That is going into our bucket. We are going to just move around our turkey bacon right now. Starting to smell pretty nice in here. We still got at least another 1/2 hour on our vegetables. So again, we got plenty of time to wait on that. All right, next thing, we got some tomatoes. We're not gonna use all of these. We're gonna use about half, okay? And it's just a one and done thing. Okay, in half and into the bowl. And this is gonna be kind of a good snack to have or a side with a dinner. If you're just hungry like me all the time and just need things to eat, this is where we're going to be doing with these. It's a fun way to use a bunch of vegetables, get some extra protein in, get your beans in, all that fun stuff. All right, we'll call that half. Stick these back in the fridge. I wait to dice a lot of my onions and garlic until the end just because it takes up a significant amount of the, it leaves a trace. You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean. Leaves a trace. On my cutting board, and my hands get sticky. All right, tomatoes are in. Because this is cold, that's why I'm using plastic. I'm just gonna mix these together in this bowl. Move it maybe away from my heat. I'm gonna actually put that over here. Again, I'm just gonna stir my turkey bacon up. You can see some of the water start to come out of my turkey bacon. It's gonna take a bit of time to cook, which is why we can leave it and set it and do other things at the same time. So we got our celery. You always want to wash celery before you use it. And I'm just gonna grab just a couple of stalks, maybe 3, because these are pretty small. And we're gonna use this later. We use a lot of ingredients twice with meal prep. And then I am just going to chop off my heads. I'm gonna chop off my tails. I'm gonna rinse them. Also great to have a colander out for that. Give them a good rinse. And then from there, I'm going to slice down the middle. Because I do still want some chunks of celery. And then we are going to just do a nice chop. Very quick, very easy. We don't want it overpowered by celery. I did not line these up properly at all, but that's okay. That is the fun loving of cooking. Again, we got our bucket. Scoop our celery right on in. Give it a good mix. I'm glad I'm using this bowl actually. Rinse the hands. Dry my hands. And now we're on to our garlic and our onion. I'm gonna start with the onion. This is small red onion. We're gonna use the entire thing. And we are going to start by chopping off the top, chopping off the bottom. Some people don't do it this way. This is the way that I do it. This is the way that I find easiest for me to chop. Okay, small red onion. Wonderful. What I do is I cut in quarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, because it grabs the onion that I want to put back in its place. Like I said, sticky, gets sticky. And then from there, I'll just go with the grain. So I get a little past center, tip it over, finish it out. A little bit past center, flip it with the grain. And again, this is going right into our bowl. Now I know you're wondering, we're doing garlic powder and onion powder, and we have raw garlic in here. You bet. Of course we do. Want to know why? Because garlic and onion, great for your body. Super good prebiotics. Lots of fiber, good for your gut. All right, last thing we got is our garlic. I'm gonna cut off the ends. They're going in my garbage bucket. I'm gonna peel my garlic cloves. This is where it starts to get a little sticky. Also, my kitchen light went out and I don't feel like getting it fixed. So we're just using the very dim light from outside because I don't get direct sunlight. And my stovetop light, because that's where we're at. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna dice these. So we're going to start with a rough chop. And then from there, we're going to even more roughly chop. Bring it in to a nice little circle again. Bring your knife back down. And we're just going back and forth. Again, get the bits from your knife, make a nice circle. Rough chop. Now I know you're not going to get to see the finished product of our vegetables because that's still going to take a little bit longer than the amount of time that we've got for this recipe. And we're going to take our garlic and we're going to throw that right in here. Perfect. We love a garlic. We're garlic gals. All right. Next thing we're going to do is mix. Again, get everything really very much in there. Make sure our onion is spread out. I am going to add just a touch of olive oil. A little salt. And now comes our spices. So basil. Measure that with your heart. All right, we got basil, we got dill. We got cumin. Parsley. We're gonna mix. What's on our stovetop? Our bacon, turkey bacon, and beans. You see the water starting to really on that. We're gonna add a little garlic, little onion. Just a quick little sprinkling there. A little sprinkle. Don't need much because again we have that raw amount in there. And we're just gonna mix this. Make sure that our spices are well incorporated. And then from there, we're gonna put this into some airtight containers. And into the fridge it goes. We have a nicely spiced snack, side, really whatever, honestly. Be whatever you want it to be. If you want to add olives to this, you could add olives. You really could make this your own. See if I can get all this to fit in one container. I always love playing that game. Can it all fit? Normally the answer is, I'm gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen. Awesome. All right, so we got our side dish / random salad snack thing ready to go here. You can see that that makes a pretty hefty amount. Snap on our lids and into the fridge. All right. Like I said, it's gonna still be a bit on our turkey bacon and on our vegetables. Again, once these are done in about 15-20 minutes, I'm going to mix them together, let them cool down, put them in a glass container, and then we have our breakfast vegetables, our breakfast hash, all set and ready to go for about at least 7 days, depending upon for a singular person. I eat a lot of food though, so what I make, you may say, oh my God, that's a lot. I eat a lot of food. So there's that. But stay tuned next week for the rest of the things that we cook with our grocery shopping list.